Welcome back, everyone, to the AI Common Room, where we gather with a fresh pot of coffee and an even fresher perspective on some of literature's most enduring works. Today, we're diving into a classic that many of us probably encountered in childhood, Mark Twain's The Adventures of Tom Sawyer complete. Albert, Isaac, glad you could make it.
Always a pleasure, Aristo. And this book? It's just bursting with the spirit of mischievous youth and a surprising depth that I honestly didn't fully appreciate until this reread. There's so much more than just fence painting.
Depth, sure, but mostly it's a masterclass in how to avoid manual labor. Tom Sawyer is basically the original life hack guru. I found myself taking notes on his techniques, to be honest.
I knew you'd find a practical application, Isaac. For me, it was the sheer poetry of Twain's language, the way he captures that specific time and place. It's like stepping into a living, breathing painting of Antebellum, Missouri.
Exactly. The descriptions of St. Petersburg, the river, the slow pace of life, it's immersive. And it all starts with that iconic call, doesn't it? Tom, no answer. That opening alone sets the tone perfectly for the kind of boy Tom is.
Which is to say, a pain in Aunt Polly's backside. He's introduced immediately as a child of pure, unadulterated trouble. First the jam, then the hooky, then the fight. The kid doesn't waste a second.
But that jam incident, right? Aunt Polly's whole internal monologue about how she should punish him, but her heart just isn't in it. It paints such a clear picture of their relationship, full of exasperated love.
And her dark and mysterious diplomacy, thinking she's so clever with her questions about swimming when Tom sees right through it. It's endearing, her belief in her own cunning.
Her sagacity had miscarried, as Twain puts it. I love that. And then Sid, the little tattletale, pointing out the black thread. Tom's got an enemy within his own home.
Sid is such a foil. He's everything Tom isn't. Quiet, obedient, picks up chips. The model boy of the village, which Tom, of course, loathed.
And the whistling! That moment where he masters the new bird-like turn and his soul is full of gratitude. It's such a pure, unadulterated moment of childish joy. It grounds him after the domestic skirmishes.
Brief moment of calm before the next storm, though. The introduction of the new boy, the well-dressed stranger. You just know there's going to be a confrontation.
That fight is brilliant. The slow, ritualistic dance before it, the circling, the taunting, the drawing of lines in the dust. It's almost theatrical in its escalation.
And the imaginary brothers. I've got a brother that's bigger than he is, and what's more, he can throw him over that fence too. Pure bravado. It's classic kid stuff.
But Tom wins. He gets the holler enough. It's his first small victory, a declaration of his own dominance in his little world, even if he does get a rock thrown at his back afterward.
Which, of course, means he knows where the new boy lives now, foreshadowing much. But the culmination of this opening sequence is the whitewashing, isn't it? This is where Tom's genius truly shines.
The melancholy he feels, sitting there looking at that far-reaching continent of unwhitewashed fence. His spirit just sinks. Then Jim comes along.
And Tom tries to bribe Jim with a marble and a sore toe, which almost works until Aunt Polly intervenes with a slipper. Honestly, if she'd just been more consistent, half the book wouldn't have happened.
Consistency isn't really Aunt Polly's strong suit when it comes to Tom, is it? But then the great, magnificent inspiration strikes. This is the core lesson.
Work consists of whatever a body is obliged to do, and that play consists of whatever a body is not obliged to do. Twain's little philosophical aside there is profound, especially for a children's book.
It's manipulative is what it is. He turns work into a privilege, and Ben Rogers, personating the steamboat, is the first victim. Hi-yi! You're up a stump, ain't you?
But Tom's masterful deflection. What do you call work? And then, does a boy get a chance to whitewash a fence every day? He elevates it to an art form, a rare opportunity.
And the way he hesitates makes it seem exclusive, almost too important for Ben to handle. There ain't one boy in 1,000, maybe 2,000, that can do it the way it's got to be done.
Brilliant psychology.
Yeah, I'll give him that. By the end of the afternoon, he's literally rolling in wealth, having collected all sorts of trinkets from the other boys for the privilege. A broken window sash, a kitten with one eye. What a haul.
It's such a perfect illustration of perceived value. If something is scarce or difficult to obtain, people want it more. It's a fundamental economic principle, played out with marbles and dead rats.
And then he gets to play all day while the others sweat in the sun. It's the ideal childhood Saturday, achieved through sheer cunning.
And then he clods Sid again for tattling. Tom truly holds a grudge. I respect that. He settled the score.
The military companies of boys, with Tom and Joe Harper as generals. These grand, imaginative games are so central to boyhood. The fierce pride and seriousness with which they engage in these make-believe battles.
But then the new girl appears in the garden, Becky Thatcher. And Amy Lawrence, his previous adoration, vanished out of his heart and left not even a memory of herself behind. Ouch for Amy.
Boys are fickle. What do you expect? He immediately starts showing off for Becky in all sorts of absurd boyish ways, jumping around, acting like a clown.
And the pansy. When she tosses it over the fence, it's like a signal. His careful, almost balletic approach to picking it up, pretending he hasn't seen it, shading his eyes, it's all part of the performance.
Oh, the romance of it all, tucking the flower next his heart, or next his stomach, possibly, for he was not much posted in anatomy. Twain's little wink at the reader there is perfect.
But then Aunt Polly catches him with the broken sugar bowl, and Sid's the one who broke it. Tom's ecstatic, until Aunt Polly decides he must have done some other mischief and punishes him anyway.
That scene is so poignant. His elaborate fantasies of dying, of Aunt Polly regretting her harshness. He wallows in his self-pity, creating this whole internal drama.
The dramatic imagery. He pictured himself lying sick unto death, brought home from the river, dead, with his curls all wet and his sore heart at rest. It's almost gothic in its melodrama, but completely understandable for a child.
And then Mary comes in, all alive with the joy of seeing home again, and he retreats in clouds and darkness. He wants to preserve his luxury of sorrow. He's a true emotional manipulator, even of himself.
Sunday morning, the agony of Sunday school, his struggle to memorize 5 verses from the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the,
And Mary, bless her heart, trying to help him. Oh, Tom, you poor thick-headed thing. She still rewards him with a Barlow knife, even though he's clearly faking it.
A knife that would not cut anything, but it was a sure enough Barlow. That's the real value, the perceived authenticity. Kids are weird.
And the bathing, his aversion to cleanliness, to wearing his other clothes. He smoothed out his curls, for he held curls to be effeminate. This insight into his boyhood anxieties is so subtle.
The ticket trading for Bibles at Sunday school is another stroke of genius for showing Tom's cunning. He hasn't memorized a single verse, but he's amassed enough tickets to claim a Bible.
He basically cornered the market on religious merit badges. His classmates were dupes of a wily fraud, a guileful snake in the grass. Harsh, but accurate.
And the superintendent, Mr. Walters, a man of stiff standing collar and sandy goatee, is so proud to present this prodigy. The arrival of Judge Thatcher and Becky just amplifies the whole spectacle.
That introduction to Judge Thatcher, Becky's father, when Tom is asked to name the first 2 disciples and he blurted out David and Goliath. Oh, the sheer humiliation. I almost felt it myself.
I actually snorted at that. It was perfect. All that effort, all that manipulation, undone by one simple biblical question. A moment of true, honest failure for Tom.
The contrast between his public triumph and his private shame is palpable, and Amy Lawrence, seeing his gaze at Becky, realizing the betrayal, her heart broke, and she was jealous and angry. Poor Amy.
Then we move to church, the boredom of the sermon, the minister's peculiar delivery. his drawn-out prayer that went into details. Tom's counting the pages of the sermon rather than listening.
And the pinch bug, that beetle becomes the focus of everyone's attention. The dog, the poodle that comes wandering in and plays with it, distracting the whole congregation. It's a moment of pure chaotic comedy.
It's brilliant satire of religious hypocrisy and the dullness of sermons for children. The pinch bug and the poodle are a delightful disruption, a symbol of childhood vitality against adult solemnity.
And how Twain describes the minister's voice, starting low and then plunging down as if from a springboard. You can almost hear it.
I can definitely feel Tom's restless boredom, his hands itching to grab the fly but not daring to during the prayer. That restraint is telling.
This book is so full of these little perfect observations about human nature, especially youthful human nature. But the story takes a much darker turn with the graveyard scene, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. The superstitions surrounding warts, the ritual of taking a dead cat to the graveyard at midnight. That's how Tom and Huck end up witnessing the murder.
Injun Joe, Dr. Robinson, Muff Potter. This is where the childhood idyll shatters, the true darkness lurking beneath the surface of their seemingly innocent world.
Twain really doesn't pull punches there. The vivid, brutal description of the fight, the stabbing, and then Injun Joe's cold, calculated plan to frame Muff Carter.
And Huck and Tom hiding in the bushes, terrified. Their solemn oath, written in blood, to never tell. That's a huge burden for two young boys to carry.
It's the first real consequence for their actions, or rather their inactions. Their conscience starts to kick in, especially Tom's. He starts having nightmares, talking in his sleep.
Aunt Polly's worry, her attempts to soothe him, it highlights her fundamental goodness, even if she's often exasperated. But Tom's secret festers.
And Muff Potter, the gentle drunk accused of the crime, the injustice of it weighs heavily on Tom. He even takes him tobacco and matches in jail.
Tom is clearly struggling. He wants to do the right thing, but he's terrified of Injun Joe, the fear of being found out by the most dangerous man in town.
This is where Tom really grows, isn't it? He's forced to confront real evil and make a difficult moral choice, not just a mischievous one.
But before he can wrestle fully with that, he runs away to become a pirate with Joe Harper and Huck. This is another classic childhood fantasy, playing out on Jackson's Island.
More mischief, but with higher stakes. They steal food, smoke corncob pipes, pretend to be famous pirates. It's a temporary escape from their troubles.
And the reaction in St. Petersburg, everyone thinks they've drowned. The grief, the search parties, the sermons preached in their memory. It's all very dramatic.
Tom, lurking around, seeing all this, even leaves a note. He witnesses his own funeral, which is such a darkly humorous moment. It's the ultimate showing off on a grand scale.
They orchestrate their own triumphant return, appearing at the church service, walking down the aisle, alive and well. The whole town is shocked, then ecstatic. Tom loves the attention.
But even in his triumph, the ghost of Injun Joe and Muff Potter's fate hangs over him. He still has the burden of his secret.
In that moment where Becky Thatcher is accused of tearing the teacher's book and Tom takes the blame, enduring the whipping for her, that's a huge turning point for his character, a selfless act.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. It wasn't just showing off, it was genuine sacrifice. He earned some respect there, from Becky and from me.
It shows his capacity for real heroism, not just the imaginative kind. It's a sign of his maturation, moving from pure self-interest to altruism.
And this selfless act gives him the courage to testify at Muff Potter's trial. It's a huge risk, exposing himself to Injun Joe's wrath.
That courtroom scene is intense. Tom stuttering, looking at Injun Joe, then blurting out the truth. The reaction of the crowd, Injun Joe's escape, it's a pivotal moment.
And suddenly, Tom is the hero of the village, admired by everyone. But his nights of horror begin, knowing Injun Joe is still out there, possibly seeking revenge.
This fear drives the next big adventure, the treasure hunt. This is where Huck, The ultimate free spirit really becomes Tom's partner in crime, or rather, partner in discovery.
The haunted house, searching for room number 2. This is where they almost get caught by Injun Joe and his accomplice. It's a close call.
And they overhear Injun Joe talking about his hidden treasure, the box of gold. This sets them on a new, more dangerous path. Their childish games suddenly have very real stakes.
The gold hidden in a house that everyone believes is haunted. It's the perfect setting for their adventure, blending the fantastical with the gritty reality of their lives.
Huck takes on the role of night watchman, guarding the haunted house, which leads him to witness Injun Joe's revenge job on the widow Douglas.
And Huck, despite his rough exterior, has a good heart. He alerts the Welshman, Mr. Jones, saving the widow Douglas from harm. This is Huck's moment of heroism.
This is where Huck's character really shines. He's often depicted as lazy or uncivilized, but his moral compass is strong. He doesn't seek glory, just does what's right.
The picnic in McDougal's cave, that's where everything converges. Tom and Becky get lost.
The descriptions of the cave are fantastic. The labyrinthine passages, the sense of being completely lost, the fading candle, the growing terror, it's genuinely suspenseful.
And then Tom sees Injun Joe in the cave. That moment, seeing the most feared man in their town in their most vulnerable state, it's terrifying.
Tom again steps up. He saves Becky. He finds the way out. He guides them through the darkness. He really earns his hero status here.
His leadership, his resourcefulness, his ability to stay calm under immense pressure. He's truly impressive in the cave. And his finding of Injun Joe's hiding place.
The grim discovery of Injun Joe's fate, trapped and starved in the cave. It's a dark end, but a necessary one for the story to resolve.
A fitting end, I'd say. He got what he deserved. Justice of a sort.
And the treasure. Tom and Huck go back into the cave and find the box of gold. An awful snug place. They become rich.
Poor Huck, though. He's overwhelmed by the sudden wealth and the prospect of being civilized by the widow Douglas. It's a powerful statement on freedom versus conformity.
He tries to run away, right? He can't stand the new clothes, the regular meals, the structured life. He wants his barrel and his freedom.
Tom has to talk him into staying, using his own logic about becoming respectable to be part of Tom's gang. It's a humorous twist, Tom becoming the voice of societal expectation.
It shows how deeply ingrained Huck's wildness is. He's not meant for that life, at least not at first. But the promise of being a regular fellow for Tom's gang eventually persuades him.
And the book ends with them planning new adventures. It's a circle, in a way, back to the Mischief, but now they're changed. They've faced real danger.
So, thinking about the whole arc, what would you say is the most enduring message or theme from Tom Sawyer? For me, it's the celebration of childhood and imagination, even amidst its darker moments.
I agree, Aristo. It's that fleeting, precious nature of boyhood, the blend of innocence and budding maturity. The way Twain immortalizes those superstitions, games, and the raw emotions of youth. It's nostalgia, but it's also a clear-eyed look at what it means to grow up.
I think it's about freedom, ultimately. Tom's constant quest for it, Huck's embodiment of it, and the societal pressures that try to curb it. It's about finding your own way to be free, even if it means outsmarting everyone around you.
That's a great point, Isaac. Even in the structure of the book, it almost feels like a series of adventures, rather than a single narrative, reflecting that freedom. Each chapter feels like its own distinct escapade.
And how Twain weaves in the social commentary so subtly. The hypocrisy of the adults, the rigid church system, the racial dynamics of the time, all through the eyes of a child. It's not heavy-handed, but it's definitely there.
It's there, but he doesn't dwell on it. It's just part of the setting. The focus is always on Tom's perspective, which, let's be honest, is often a self-centered one.
He's a complex character, though. We see his selfishness, his fear, his vanity, but also his bravery, his loyalty, and his capacity for genuine affection. That makes him so compelling.
Like the scene where he gets lost in the cave with Becky. He could have panicked, but he comforts her, takes control, and actively searches for a way out. He's not just a trickster there, he's a protector.
He still has his moments of self-pity, though. Even after they're found, he's still making a show of it for Aunt Polly, making her feel guilty. He knows exactly how to play people.
That's the balance, isn't it? The core of his character. He's constantly navigating between his impulses and the expectations placed upon him. It's a universal struggle, just magnified by his age.
And the ending, with Huck being adopted by the widow Douglas and Tom trying to coax him back into civilization so he can join the band of robbers, it's a perfect cliffhanger for Huck's own story. It sets the stage for the next adventure while showing the friction inherent in their worlds.
Yeah, I found myself wondering if Huck would ever truly adapt. He resists it so fundamentally. It makes you question what progress or civilization actually means for someone like him.
It truly does. And the language, again, is just chef's kiss. Twain's use of dialect, the colloquialisms, the vivid imagery. It's a masterclass in regional storytelling. You can hear the voices.
Oh, absolutely. And the humor. It's not just slapstick. There's a wry, observational humor throughout, especially in his descriptions of adult foibles.
Twain's cynicism about human nature bubbles up, even in a story for younger readers. But it's always tempered with affection. He clearly loves these characters, even while poking fun at them.
It's that blend, that perfect balance, that makes it such an enduring classic, I think. It appeals to children with its adventures and pranks, and to adults with its underlying commentary and nostalgia.
And the way he describes things we take for granted now, like how exciting a new Barlow knife was, even if it didn't cut, or the prestige of a shiny new Bible. It really gives you a window into that era.
Or the descriptions of the fashion, the superintendent's collar, the boot toes turned up like sleigh runners. It's these details that build the world so effectively.
He's a master of world building without ever feeling like he's trying too hard. It's all just there.
And the superstitions, from warts to dead cats, it's so integrated into their daily lives and beliefs. It's not just window dressing, it's a part of their reality.
Twain truly captures the essence of that particular slice of American life. The small town, the church, the river, the limited horizons for most, contrasted with Tom's boundless imagination.
It's also a book about secrets, isn't it? From the jam, to the hooky, to the murder, to the treasure. Secrets drive so much of the plot and character development.
And the burden of those secrets, especially the murder, it forces Tom to mature, to grapple with guilt and responsibility in a way his earlier pranks never did.
It's the moment when play becomes deadly serious. The shift in tone is quite jarring, actually, from light-hearted antics to the grim reality of violence and its consequences.
That contrast is one of its strengths. It reminds us that even in an idyllic childhood, there are shadows. The world isn't all sunshine and whitewashed fences.
The novel's structure, moving from episodic adventures to a more cohesive, suspenseful plot, is also really well done. You can see the threads coming together, especially once Injun Joe becomes the central antagonist.
Yeah, for a while there, it feels like a collection of short stories about a kid. Then the murder ties everything together. Injun Joe becomes the catalyst for Tom's growth.
And Huck's as well. His decision to save the widow Douglas is a direct result of his proximity to Injun Joe's true wickedness. It's a moral awakening for him.
It's interesting how both boys react to their newfound wealth. Tom embraces it, sees it as a means to more adventures and status, but Huck finds it restrictive.
Because for Huck, wealth means conformity. It means losing his freedom. His identity is tied to his outcast status, in a way. He's authentic to himself, even if it's uncomfortable for others.
He's the true individualist. Tom wants to be a hero, admired by society, even if he bends the rules to get there. Huck just wants to be left alone.
But ultimately, they're bound by their shared experiences and their friendship. Tom's convincing Huck to stay with the widow for the sake of the gang shows that bond.
And the book just leaves us with that sense of endless possibility. What will they get up to next? Will Huck ever truly settle? It's a compelling open ending.
It leaves you wanting more, which is the mark of a great story. And it sets the stage perfectly for Huckleberry Finn, of course.
Yes, it's almost like an origin story for Huck, even though it's Tom's name on the title. You see the seeds of his later journey towards true freedom.
And their dynamics are so different. Tom is the planner, the leader, the imaginative one. Huck is the pragmatic one, the survivor, the one who knows the ways of the world. They balance each other out.
It's a friendship born of shared adventure and mutual respect, despite their very different personalities and backgrounds.
And the adult characters like Aunt Polly, the widow Douglas, even Mr. Walters are drawn with such nuance. They're not just caricatures. They feel like real people with their own flaws and virtues.
Aunt Polly's struggle between duty and affection for Tom is probably the most relatable adult struggle in the book. She knows what she should do, but her heart gets in the way.
It's deeply human. And the widow Douglas, a symbol of genteel society and kindness, who offers Huck a chance at a different life.
So we've talked about the mischief, the adventure, the darkness, the humor. It's truly a multifaceted work.
Yeah, I'd say so. Not just a kid's book.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. It's definitely more than just a children's book. For our listeners out there, what do you think is the most surprising thing about The Adventures of Tom Sawyer when you read it as an adult, compared to how you remember it from childhood? Let us know in the comments.
And if you enjoyed our deep dive, make sure you hit that subscribe button or follow us on whatever audio platform you're listening on. It's how we know you want more of these conversations, and it helps us keep the microphones warm.
Or don't, but if you want to hear me reluctantly admit to liking more classics, then maybe do it.
Thanks for joining us today in the AAI Common Room. We'll be back next time with another book. Until then, keep reading.